Hey all, so this is the final war of the season, a rematch against PYCB, who we dropped one of our more unfortunate losses to early in the season, so really hoping that we can beat them, especially because while Masters is pretty much locked for us, if we can beat them, depending on how other wars are going, we have a really good shot at top 10, and it's been a while for us, so we would really love for that to happen. I am doing my best to make sure that we are um, carried over the line by She-Hulk because I have 7 She-Hulk fights this war, and I am having so much fun. So we start off with this Annihilus. As you saw, the neutralize comboed with her heavy and the fact that her heavy cannot be interrupted while the opponent is unstoppable, and it removes an unstoppable effect without it being a nullify. Plus, she's Subdue, which controls spiked armor on this node. For the most part, you see right there, it gets through the neutralize. Just everything about her and this tactic makes her just an amazing counter to Annihilus here. So really strong answer. We move on to this Rintrah. Originally in the assignments, I had looked at putting a House of X here because it would make it easier. But honestly, given that we want the debuff immunity to fall off in places anyway, so that we can apply more debuffs and therefore more power stings, and if we're not doing that, then I'm probably pursuing tempo against a large mystic to keep my furies up. I don't know why I responded to that heavy there. I do that in Battlegrounds all the time. I really need to get disciplined about Rintrah's heavy. But because we're doing either one of those two things, either waiting for debuffs or going go without needing parries at all, I decided I just didn't need the House of X here, and I could go ahead and go for it. And as you can see by how quickly this Rintrah is going down, that was absolutely true. Now, one problem here that is showing up is that this node is still using a generic appearance for its Fury, which means that it overlaps with Jen's native Furies, and it can be really hard to tell when protection is coming back, which is extremely annoying. And I was clocking it during this fight, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to go for a parry somewhere in here, and I knew that was going to happen. Of course, the one time I actually try and stick a parry, it's right as protection is going to end, and I get clocked for it. But that's okay. That was the price of doing business. We had an invulnerability boost. Everything else about this fight was going beautifully. And that is a rank 4 Rintrah toasted in less than 90 seconds. We move on to this Sasquatch. Same basic theory as the boss last war, right? In that she has exhaustion on the special one to control his Wrath of Tanarak. And then between the Reed pre-fights and her own debuffs, she can control the healing at the end. But the health pool here is smaller, and so I don't expect us to need to switch over to Petrify via the Special 2 to finish this one out. Additionally, because we can freely parry here, it's very easy for us to land in these heavies, which is going to give us 2 more Power Sting triggers every time we do that, and that's going to add a lot of extra damage. I said in the last video against the Sasquatch boss that if I took that again I would run Resonate. Being able to heavy frequently is enough. Like, you don't need Resonate if you can land all of those extra slow debuffs, because look at those Power Stings. Here's another one. That was 32,000 right there. You can notice we're not turning off the healing fully, but we do not have to, because even one Power Sting there was another 11,000, and I think, okay, that doesn't quite close it out, but this Power Sting will. Come on, buddy, throw a special. Boom, 23k. And I think that was actually supposed to be more like 36, and it only counted the first 2 Power Stings, because that was necessary for death, kind of the way visuals work in our game. You'll notice I'm talking faster than normal because She-Hulk is crushing these fights quickly, but there's a lot to talk about because she is not used in war all that often. But we move on to Quicksilver. This was actually called out in our officer chat as a potential risk, but I was very confident with it. I know that Slow will not turn off his evade. Now that was a risk, intercepting his dash with a heavy. But I know Slow will stop turning off his evade once he gets to 300. But that's okay because I'm not really planning on turning off his evade. The main reason I'm using Jen here is the synergy with Reed to get the power stings, and the fact that she, via her Sig, is going to control the debuffs for me. She can purify the Whiplash, she can purify the power stings from this node. Basically, she is going to allow me to just go, go, go on this node, and throw all my specials, keep my Furies up decently, apply those power stings. I had the Indestructible because I was sure I was going to eat an unblockable special 1 in here somewhere. But that right there, I think, was the very first time we triggered Power Snack. I messed up the very end of the special 2 evade there. We finally lose the Reed pre-fights here. But that's okay, because again, we only triggered Power Snack once. And we are otherwise just completely shutting this fight down. So really beautiful fight by Jen there. 75 seconds, handles Quicksilver really cleanly. That can be an ugly fight even for a Nick Fury, and this just made planning that much easier. Because one possible mistake on their part, PYCB did do us the favor of putting 2 Science Champions on path 4 here. Now against a lot of the characters that people bring, that's a really good move, right? Because if you use somebody like Mole Man for the Void after this I-Bomb, which you saw me take last war, then he's going to struggle with I-Bomb because it's just too many debuffs. If you use somebody like Shang-Chi, you have to play perfectly around the unblockable specials. There are ways for it to go south, but Jen is poison immune and has access to constant purify and is just perfect for both of these. This is going even better than my fight last war. As you can see, we're just purifying all the debuffs. We're unblockable the whole time. He's extra large, so our Furies are lasting longer. We're stacking them. Just, this war is so much fun. We move on to Void. I'll say ahead of time, this one is slightly less clean. Had some weird input stuff happen with this one. But you'll notice we'll start off taking a fair amount of damage from the heal block. But pretty quickly we will purify it, and the beautiful thing about She-Hulk in this fight is that even if we mess up, even if we get tagged, even if we lose our combo, even if we go so aggressive that we move past multiples of 10, none of that matters because we always have a Purify ready to go. We just need to land another hit. She, of course, is not the only person who can do this. Love the parry fail there. So much fun. But she is one of the best. You can see right there we lost our combo. Our opponent is running Resonate, which I'm not used to seeing on defense. So that could have been terrible for somebody else. But she comes in for a combo. She purifies the debuff from Resonate, then immediately purifies the debuff from his Intimidating Presence. Does it again there. We're not even having to watch our combo. I took a little bit of damage here because of a failed parry, but otherwise just complete domination by She-Hulk. We move on, wait overnight for Gore to come down, and then we move on to Nick, which is obviously one fight She-Hulk should not take. Now this is Polka Dot Power Stunning Reflection, and so that makes it perfect for Toad, because we are going to get some power from our active poisons, although we don't get power when they're turned into passives. And we are going to use that to build to even one special 1 is going to allow us to build enough of those poisons so that when we push Nick into his second life, we are able to shut down his healing enough for this to not be a really scary fight. We are also going to use the global to push him to special 2 when we can, but we're not really concerned about him throwing special 1s because he's not going to be chaining them, and that's really all that matters. I don't care if he gets 4 charges here, 8 charges there, because we're not going to be giving him many charges by actually hitting him, and that's all that really counts. So right here, I go ahead and hit into his block. He then gives us a few flourish, and so I'm going to be able to push him to the special 2 almost. I immediately block, hoping he doesn't throw the special. I hit into his block. That pushes him to the special 2. But now we finally have a bar of power. About halfway through the fight, And we should be gaining power more consistently from here on, because the paralytic secretions activated off his special one are going to give us way more poisons, and therefore we're not going to lose access to polka dot power the rest of this fight. It's fine if he purifies some of these, because 6 to 7 is about what I want when he goes into second life anyway. Because if you have 8 or 9, it's really easy to accidentally throw one more poison on him and convert them all into a passive right before second life. Then he'll shrug the passive. That's what you don't want. So I try and aim for 6 to 7 at the conversion. That's exactly what happened. It slowed down his second life healing, and then we were able to close it out. So not my cleanest fight, but the good thing about Toad is that even if you get hit with a bleed, it just activates your regen and keeps your poisons going. So just really, really clean counter there. And we move on to She-Hulk. Now, I could have tried to do some fancy stuff in this fight with heavy counters, get slow up, but my assumption was Juggernaut is XL, our Furies are going to last, we have enough debuffs off the special one. Whenever we apply our exhaustion, that is going to also remove his gem and apply a weakness, which is going to apply another power sting. And so I figured that my plan of attack for this fight is to not be fancy at all and just go all out. He is going to mostly knock himself out via these power stings. I'm not worried about our heavies. We're doing a great job of keeping them up. We're up to 9, and the fight is basically over. I'm willing to risk one parry, despite Limber and Hard Knock Life, to close it out, 45 seconds. So just a beautiful fight, and then you see me pause here on the fact that we did get a donut this war. It was a really good clear. I'm so happy that our last war of the season was not only a donut for Battle Group 3, but also a 7-fight She-Hulk war for me. That is just so much fun. Just huge shout out to Battle Group 3. We had some rough stuff happen this season, some heavy turnover, and turnover mid-season is always really tough. It's not just a matter of rosters, although there is that. It's also group cohesion. You don't necessarily have a rhythm with people. For me as a planner, I switch from people who I've been planning for months and months and months, who I know exactly what they're comfortable with, or at least I think I do, and I know where I can send them and expect victory, to new people who may be very, very good, but I just do not know as well. And so that is a process. That's something that we struggled with this season, and I think it explains why, even though Battle Group 3 got 2 donuts and several 164s, 163s, we also had some rough ones. I will accept some responsibility for that. I was still figuring things. But I'm really, really happy with how it wound up, because I think this last week we did 165, 164, 165, and that's just a really, really promising finish heading into the next season. Additionally, this probably won't surprise anybody, but because we got a donut in BG3, that also helped us have the clear lead in this war. I think we only died twice overall, and so that means that we should be top 10 as well. We've heard from how some other alliances are doing. Basically, given our very high attack bonus this war, it's unlikely that anyone that we're concerned about will pass us, and so we should, again, knock on wood, be top 10 at the end of this season for the first time in a long time. The rewards bump is nice, but it's really not that. It's just, I feel like we've been playing really well. It feels like we've earned this. We've had a very tough schedule if you want to scroll back through the season. And so this feels really good. I'm very proud of the Alliance and happy with where we've been. I will not do a rewards opening video per se, because I'm already saving shards for the next feature, because I want to open my second champion as well and have Kate Bishop on this account. But I will go ahead and talk through probably who my next rank 4s are. I can talk through my attackers for the season, that kind of stuff, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was a blast for me, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and take care.